Welcome in, Bills Mafia. Welcome back to another edition of Countdown to Kickoff for the Buffalo Bills and Indianapolis Colts game today at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I am your host, Brett McDurphy. Glad to be with you for another edition of Week 10 Countdown to Kickoff this week. It's going to be a beautiful game for the Buffalo Bills. We did see the inactives come out for both teams, and it's not the best news for the Buffalo Bills. But let's go over to the inactives. We'll start with the visiting Buffalo Bills. Both of their starting wide receivers, Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper, are going to be out with the wrist injury. It seems like the Bills are being a little bit cautious with both players, especially considering that they do have a matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs next week, and they do have their bye week coming up. So they want to be cautious and make sure that these guys heal up because we have a number of games coming up between the Kansas City Chiefs, there's the San Francisco 49ers as well coming up that are going to be tough games for the Bills to get wins in. Fullback Reggie Gilliam is out with a hip injury as well. Linebacker Edafon Olafashio is out with that's not an injury-related issue. Guard Will Clapp is not going to be in there as well. These are all these are all healthy scratches for the Buffalo Bills, and wide receiver KJ Hamler, who the Bills brought up on their elevations for practice squad, is inactive as well. We'll scroll down to the Indianapolis Colts this week and see who's inactive for them, starting off with their one injury that they do have is wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr. with a back/finger injury. Will not play today, so the Bills get a little bit of a sigh of relief not having him today. Defensive end Jannard Avery is also inactive for the game. Defensive tackle Adam Goses is inactive as well. Another wide receiver in Anthony Gold inactive for them as well. Healthy scratch. Safety Darren Hall inactive. Now they do have another player inactive in Sam Ellinger who is inactive for this game, but he is the third quarterback in case of an emergency for the Indianapolis Colts. So they do have Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco active. Joe Flacco will be the one that's starting the game today, but we could see Anthony Richardson, if this game does get into a blowout type situation, he could be in there as well. Let's go over to the keys to the game for the Buffalo Bills, how they can come out of this with a win. And key matchups. We'll start with the key matchups for the Bills. And this game, for me, it comes down to Josh Allen versus the Colts secondary. And I mentioned this yesterday on Nickel City Mafia. If you didn't go over and check out that video, go over to Nickel City Mafia and check out the pregame show that we did there as well. This game comes down to Allen's ability to extend plays and his deep ball accuracy. We saw it last week with the Minnesota Vikings going up against the Indianapolis Colts, what the Vikings were able to do with Justin Jefferson. I feel like this is the prime opportunity to see guys like Khalil Shakir, and this is a great opportunity for Curtis Samuel to show out. He isn't going to get another opportunity like this with Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper both out this week. If he wants an opportunity to be in this lineup for the Buffalo Bills, he's going to have to step up big today. If you look at what he's done this season, he hasn't really done anything, and this is the opportunity for him to showcase that he can get involved in this offense and he can make big plays. They're going to have to utilize him as a gadget-type player and move him around the line of scrimmage and make it a big day for him. If he wants, like I said, if he wants to get into this lineup, because when Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper are back, he's not going to get as many opportunities. And with the emergence of Mac Hollins in this lineup, the Bills are not going to be able to utilize Curtis Samuel the way that he thought he was going to when he signed with the Buffalo Bills. You also have Khalil Shakir, who's starting to emerge as the slot receiver, so that makes it even harder for a guy like Curtis Samuel to get into the lineup. And you're not going to take out guys like Dalton Kincaid out of the lineup as the tight end because he is emerging as another weapon for the Buffalo Bills. So that room in the wide receiver room is going to be even tougher for Curtis Samuel to try and crack into the lineup with. But you also have some of these tight ends in Dalton Kincaid as well as Dawson Knox that are going to make it even more difficult for him to get opportunities. So if I'm looking at this game, I'm looking at it from a perspective of how can players get more involved in the game. And it comes down to, for me, the Bills being able to utilize Curtis Samuel even more today and find a way to get him into the offense. So we'll see if we can do that. We have a Facebook user coming into the chat saying, let's go Bills. You know how we play. We're not trying to take no losses today. Absolutely. Appreciate you for tuning into the chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video as well. Let's go over to more keys matchups as well. And this one, I feel like it's going to be very important because of what the Bills have done this week and how they're going to be able to focus on this area, which is Jonathan Taylor versus the Bills' run defense. Jonathan Taylor has his performance over the last few weeks and some limited games that he has played has been phenomenal. He is averaging over 94 rushing yards per game. And this is going to be a tough battle for the Buffalo Bills to be able to stop him. If you look back to last time the Bills faced a running back of this caliber, it was Derrick Henry. And I'm looking back to that and saying, man, the Bills need to get their run defense under control. Now, the Bills did bring in two different defensive tackles this week, Quentin Jefferson as well as Jordan Phillips. And one of them is more of the run defender. The other one is more of the pass player. And I'll tell you guys right now, if this lineup needs to start stepping up with Quentin Jefferson out there on the field, and we need to be able to get into third and long situations in order to get off the field on third downs. And the Bills haven't done a great job of getting into those third and long situations, getting off the field. I want to see them do a better job this week of being able to do that. And it starts with the run game for the Indianapolis Colts being able to stop the run and create opportunities for Buffalo to get off the field and get their offense onto the field and create more opportunities for the Bills to be able to put points on the board. And that's what I want to see from them this week. But when you're going up against a guy in Jonathan Taylor, who has emerged as one of the NFL's best running backs over recent time. Now, right now, yes, he is in a situation where he has been hurt quite a bit, but Jonathan Taylor, when he's healthy, he is the number one option for the Indianapolis Colts, especially with a offensive line that's so strong for them. He can be able to put points on the board, and that's what I think we're going to see from the Buffalo Bills today, is being able to stop the run in those situations and create third and longs for Joe Flacco, who is not very versatile in terms of being able to run the ball. You're not going to see him run the ball, and he doesn't have the ability to escape the pocket. So if I'm Buffalo, I'm creating opportunities where we make this third and long for Joe Flacco and put the ball in his arms to be able to keep up with Buffalo today. The third key matchup for me is the Bills wide receivers versus the Colts cornerbacks. And for me, like I mentioned, Khalil Shakir has emerged as a reliable target for the Buffalo Bills. But when you look at the other wide receivers for the Bills, not a lot of them have experience playing with Josh Allen. While Mac Hollins does have some experience playing with him, you look at the other wide receivers in terms of Jalen Virgil. You have in the mix a few other guys in Curtis Samuel, as well as I'm going to draw a blank on his name now, but Tyrell Shavers actually in the lineup today. So you have 5 wide receivers, and a lot of them haven't caught a pass from Josh Allen yet. So 2 of them, in fact, haven't caught a pass from Josh Allen. The other one has caught a few passes, but hasn't been able to emerge into this lineup. You're going to have some guys that are going to need to step up today. And it comes down to if they can do that against a secondary that is a little bit young for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, they do have a guy in Kenny Moore who is out there as well for them. So he is kind of the older player for the Indianapolis Colts, but they do have 2 rookies that are out there in their room as well, in the cornerback room for the Indianapolis Colts. We'll see what the Bills decide to do today and how to test these different players out there as well. If you're a betting person and you're looking to to see what the betting odds are for the game. Buffalo is favored in this game by 3.5 points. The over-under on the game is set at 46.5 points. Buffalo's strong performance over the last few weeks has made it very favorable for them to win this game. And I know CBS, as well as a few other analysts, have the Bills winning this game by quite a big score. But let's go over a little bit of the overview for the Bills and the Indianapolis Colts over the last few weeks and what they've done throughout the season. We'll kind of give you a little bit of a storyline for both teams. The Bills have been one of the NFL's most consistent teams in 2024, building off of a strong foundation of offensive firepower as well as defensive tenacity. They are riding a 4-game winning streak this season, displaying an impressive balance on both sides of the ball. Now, Josh Allen continues to perform at an MVP level. He has 2,001 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, also complimenting him in his rushing ability with 211 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. So his dual threat ability and his versatility is making it harder for defenses to be able to figure out how to stop him, making him more of a matchup nightmare and forcing defenses to account for not only his arm strength, but also his mobility. Buffalo's offensive line also has been very good this year. And if you are somebody like me who loves offensive line film, you need to go over to Red, White, and Bills. Check out Sean Kula's videos that he does breaking down the offensive line film of the Buffalo Bills in the All-22. You get a good perspective of how great this offensive line for the Buffalo Bills has been. Guys like Connor McGovern as well as Osiris Torrance and what they've done for the Bills offensive line in the interior, making it even harder for defensive lines to be able to stop the Bills in not only in the passing game, but in the running game. What they have done so far this season is incredible. So you got to go over to Red, White, and Bills, check him out, and let him know that Brett from Go Bills Podcast sent you over to his channel. The Bills and their notable receivers right now have been able to contribute and emerge as reliable pass catchers. If you look at what the Bills have done with Khalil Shakir, he's catching 96% of his passes thrown his way. And that makes him such a clutch and critical person to be able to get catches for the Buffalo Bills and moves the chain down the field. Their receiving core is a little bit decimated this week. Like I mentioned, Amari Cooper and Keon Coleman both out this week. Keon Coleman is their number 1 wide receiver in terms of yards this season with 417. But if the Bills need to go with another reliable pass catching option, Khalil Shakir is the next player that's the plug and play for the Bills to be able to put points on the board. James Cook has also been able to get involved in this offense and make it a little bit more of a balanced offense for the Bills. And they have been very balanced, actually, this season. He has racked up 496 yards and 7 touchdowns this season, making Buffalo's offense one of the most balanced and dangerous offenses to compete up against. Now, on the other hand, Buffalo's defense has been incredible this season as well. Buffalo's defense has allowed 19.2 points per game this season, and they are led by a dominant front seven that features not only Greg Rousseau in the front end, but they also feature Dorian Williams, who is their leading tackler this season. He has done a phenomenal job of not only getting involved in the running game, but he's done some things in the passing game as well to get some breakups there as well. Now, on the other hand, the Bills secondary has been a little bit struggling over the past few weeks in terms of giving up some big plays, but that's kind of how the Bills have been working lately. They've been giving up some big plays because they are playing that zone defense type style for them. But I feel like this is a game where you don't have a lot of weapons for the Indianapolis Colts that are big threats like you did last week against the Miami Dolphins. So you don't have to go up against a Tyreek Hill or a Jalen Waddle this week. Now, the Indianapolis Colts do have some weapons, though, but they're not the A-list weapons that you have to have 2 guys covering them. They do have Josh Downs as well as Alec Pierce, who are bigger names, as well as Adonai Mitchell in their wide receiver room. So don't be surprised if the Bills are going to play a little bit of man coverage today when they do have 4 wide receivers out there on the field as well. And you don't have to go up against a big name tight end as well today. That's going to be another option for the Bills to be able to kind of relax a little bit compared to the last few weeks. The Bills will be going up against Mo Ali Cox today, who is a good tight end, but he's known more for his running game ability and run blocking. So the Bills don't need to necessarily worry about him in the passing game. So the Bills can kind of focus on getting rid of a couple of guys in the passing game and make it about being able to beat them through the air instead of worrying about beating them through the run game. Let's look at some other areas for the Bills and what they have done. We'll talk about the cornerback room and what Rasul Douglas has done this season. He is holding opponents to very little passing yardage given up, as well as his ability to not only have a good interceptions as well, but what he's done in the run game for the Buffalo Bills in times when we have had guys like Terrell Bernard as well as Dorian Williams. I'm sorry, not Dorian Williams, but Taron Johnson out. It's been very important for the Buffalo Bills to be able to have a guy and one of their cornerbacks that has good tackling ability and being able to get into the backfield and stop runs. That's one area that I feel like the Bills have really cleaned up with Rasul Douglas and a step that he has taken forward to be able to make his game even better. And he's in a contract year this season. He could be looking for an extension. And this is the second half of the season is going to be so critical for him to be able to put points on the board for him to be able to extend his contract and get even more money from the Buffalo Bills. Now for the Indianapolis Colts, what they have done this season has been a totally different direction from what the Buffalo Bills have done. They've been dealing with some inconsistency on both the offense and defensive side of the ball. After an encouraging start to the season, Indianapolis now finds themselves on a 2-game losing streak, sitting 2 games behind the division-leading Houston Texans in the AFC South. Injuries and quarterback changes have plagued them throughout the season, and head coach Shane Steichen is hopeful that a strong showing against Buffalo could turn things around. The Indianapolis Colts will be relying on veteran quarterback and former Super Bowl champion Joe Flacco stepping in due to injuries at the position, which brings a more seasoned presence to them. Through his limited mobility, he may impact the Colts' offensive scheme. In his first start last week, he had 179 yards and 2 interceptions that he threw in the game. Actually, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. He had 1 interception. I want to correct myself to be able to give you the right stats here, guys. He'll need to rely on his experience and quick decision-making to avoid Buffalo's pressure. On the other hand, the Colts offense remains determined to rely on Jonathan Taylor, who has returned from injury and has logged little over 500 yards this season and 5 touchdowns in 6 games. So the Bills need to rely on stopping the run today. Taylor's hopeful that his powerful running style and ability to break tackles will create opportunities for the Colts to be able to keep up with the Bills' high-scoring offense. Now, defensively for the Indianapolis Colts, they rank 12th in the NFL, only giving up 21.4 yards or points per game. Now, last week they did give up 21 points, but they played pretty well last week, having 2 interceptions on Sam Darnold. They are dealing with some injuries as well, and they are going to have to limit the big plays that they have given up. But some encouraging news for them is that they have defensive lineman DeForest Buckner as well as Kwity Paye, who are anchoring a pass rush capable of pressuring quarterbacks and disrupting offensive game plans. Now, their linebacker that they have as well and is doing a great job is Zaire Franklin, and he's somebody that is going to have to spy Josh Allen today. So if you're looking for opportunities to stop Buffalo's run game and contain Josh Allen, he's going to play a critical position in doing that. So you got to watch out for Zaire Franklin out there for the Indianapolis Colts. I do want to check in real quick, see if there's any comments that came in. Also, don't forget to drop your score predictions in the chat as well. We greatly appreciate those as well. I will get to my score prediction in just a couple of minutes, but let's go over key matchups real quick, and we'll start with the key matchup number 1 that I have for the Bills, which is going to be the Bills and Khalil Shakir going up against a few rookies today in Darrell Baker Jr. as well as Juju Brents. This is an opportunity for the Bills to be able to utilize Khalil Shakir even more and pad his stats a little bit in terms of numbers. So for the Bills, you got to take opportunities down the field, utilize not only the run game, but utilize the play action ability to get guys like Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid more involved in the offense. I know that the Bills are limited in terms of their receiving core, but let's see what the Bills can do with Khalil Shakir leading the way. And I know he's in his 3rd year right now, but this is a prime opportunity for Shakir to be able to emerge as the number 1 option and make it more impressive for him to get a contract extension for the Bills. Other areas that are key matchups for me are the Bills' run defense going up against Jonathan Taylor. And I mentioned it earlier how important this is having 2 new defensive tackles for the Buffalo Bills, 2 players that formerly played for Buffalo in Quentin Jefferson and Jordan Phillips in the lineup today. And this is going to be so important to find opportunities for Quentin Jefferson to be able to play well in Buffalo. Now, you remember back in 2020 when he was with the Bills, he didn't have a good season that year, and he was released by the Bills. This is a prime opportunity for him to showcase why he can emerge as a great option for the Buffalo Bills this season in terms of their run defense and their pass defense as well. It's going to be critical for him to make plays early and often. And if he emerges as another option in the defensive line room, this could make it interesting for him to be able to get a contract extension with Buffalo. And you remember next season, the Bills are going to have a tough opportunity to see whether they want to extend Daquan Jones or they want to let him go. He's getting older now, and he isn't making the same amount of plays as he was when he was first with the Buffalo Bills. So there could be an opportunity at the starting defensive tackle position for the Bills that could go forward. And the Bills could be looking to draft a defensive tackle early in the draft. So if Quentin Jefferson emerges, maybe the Bills move on from the defensive tackle position and drafting somebody early to getting another playmaker at another position. So we'll see what happens there. Let's move on to the strategic game plan for the Buffalo Bills and Buffalo's approach on how to beat the Indianapolis Colts. And I feel like this game is more likely to surround Josh Allen's unique skill set. They'll use design runs, play actions, deep shots down the field to test the Colts' defensive versatility, as well as test them vertically and horizontally. Head coach Sean McDermott may also come up with an aggressive defensive playing style, stacking the box to contain Jonathan Taylor today and forcing Indianapolis into passing situations where Joe Flacco will be vulnerable. I feel like this game is going to be more of the Bills creating 10 men in the box and then having designed blitzes on 3rd down to be able to get off the field early and often. My predictions for the game, as well as final thoughts on this game, as we do have about 5 minutes before the game begins. I do feel like the Bills' depth and explosive playmaking ability led by Josh Allen makes them the favorites to win the game in this matchup. However, the Colts can establish, if they can establish the run as well as gain control of possession throughout the game, this could be an interesting battle for them. This game has significant playoff implications for the Bills because they are currently in 2nd place in the AFC with the Houston Texans as well as the Baltimore Ravens picking up wins today. If they do, then it makes it even harder for the Bills to keep up in that race. So they got to win this week, and they got to be able to win next week against the Kansas City Chiefs to be able to get that 2nd place that they want and some home field advantage in the playoffs in a situation where you can go into Highmark Stadium and play the Buffalo Bills with their fan base, with the crowd and Bills Mafia that does an incredible job of showing out. It would be hard for any team to go up against the Buffalo Bills, and we'll see what happens there. I do have the Bills winning this game by a score of 35-21. I feel like the Bills are going to be able to utilize the run game with James Cook as well as Ray Davis moving the ball down the field, and their offensive line is going to overtake the defensive line of the Indianapolis Colts. So I feel like that's the way that the Bills will be able to win this game. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, as well as Threads. You can also find us on our website, gobillspodcast.com. Click on over to the website where you can find all of our upcoming shows. We will be live again at halftime for the Bills game, and we will also be live post-game today. And then tomorrow we will have our Overreaction Monday show where we will be showcasing all of what happened throughout the NFL, some games that have happened so far in the past few days. We'll get into that. But I do want to go real quick before I let you guys go. I want to go over and give you the update on the Munich game, which is taking place in Germany. The Carolina Panthers defeated the New York Giants 20-17 in overtime. That was a fascinating game for the Carolina Panthers. As you saw, Chuba Hubbard go over 150 yards in the run game on 28 carries, and he also had a touchdown. Now, there's some missed opportunities for the New York Giants as well, where they had opportunities to score on multiple occasions. You saw Graham Gano miss a field goal, as well as Daniel Jones throw a couple of interceptions in the red zone, which cost them some points. The Giants could have won that game. It should have had an opportunity to put up potentially 17 points in that game, but they weren't able to do that. Let's go real quick over to the AFC East and check out the games that will be going on today around the AFC East. We'll start off with the Patriots and Bears game at 1 o'clock. This is a game that you're going to need to focus on for the Bills to be able to win the AFC East. The New York Jets will be taking on the Arizona Cardinals at 4:25. So after the Bills game, you can root for the Cardinals to defeat the Jets today. And then tomorrow, the Monday Night Football game where the Miami Dolphins will be on the road taking on the Los Angeles Rams at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. All three games for the AFC East, all of the teams will be on the road between the New England Patriots, Miami Dolphins, and New York Jets. So interesting to see. But we will see you guys at halftime. We will have more updates throughout the day. If there's anything that goes on with the Buffalo Bills, we'll break it to you as well. Stay tuned and like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. We'll see you at halftime. And as always, go Bills.